That looks good. This looks good. All right. So, welcome. Welcome, Steve. All right. So, yeah, I missed last week. I had to go back under the knife. Yeah. So, this week you could look at it two ways. One, this is my third week post surgery. Hey, Sharon. Or it could be 1 week post surgery. Let's see. Doug, holy cow, shouldn't you be resting after two surgeries in the last 3 weeks? No. What a trooper. But I get it. Music staves off depression and sometimes pain. Yes. Oh, my sister Linda is here. Sharon, Steve, Linda. I'm surprised anybody's here. So, yeah, so just quickly, I had to go back and get part of my surgery redone. I straightened out my left arm. You know, you're supposed to do these little mini exercises. And when I straightened it out, they had reattached my bicep tendon and it literally popped off. It was a giant, like, and my arm went dead. And so, long story short, I had to go and get yet a second surgery. So, anybody that knows me for a long time knows that's a typical me situation where if something can go wrong, it will. But here I am, feeling pretty good. Not taking any painkillers other than ice. I ice it down. I take Advil. And next Tuesday, I will see the surgeon and hopefully I will be cleared to start driving. I haven't driven in 3 freaking weeks. And also to start PT, physical therapy, which will be exciting. And yeah, so, straight ahead, right? All right. Let's see. Linda said new setup where you're sitting. Uh, no, this is where probably just a different camera angle because I don't have my guitar. So it's just mostly my giant head. And you'll notice that I'm minus even more beard. I'm down to just like nubs. Um, when I was in the hospital this time, I picked up some kind of like skin infection thing and it was in my beard. And so I kind of shaved it off and took care of it. But I'm back. Sharon said, ice is everything on that shoulder. It saves me. Yeah. So I want to get right to it because we got so much to cover tonight. So the record we're going to look at tonight is from 1990 and it was a big deal. And this is mostly a whole new cast of characters, different studio. Only one cat came over. Marshall Topo is on a bunch of tracks on this record. But everybody else, a whole new cast of characters. And I got to start with Joe Ferry, a producer friend of mine. And I met Joe Ferry and also Peter Denenberg, who runs Acme Studios or ran Acme Studios. This is back in 1990. And I don't want to get into the whole what was happening in the world in 1990 because there was a lot of shit going on. How about that for fashion? This was like right around the time of like grunge and stuff. And, we were still big hair from the 1980s, but, kind of getting over it. Let's see, cargo pants, leather jackets, baseball caps, blah, blah, blah. Uh, let's see. The American with Disabilities Act was implemented. The Gulf War began. Hubble Space Telescope was launched. Yeah, bunch of stuff. Bunch of stuff was going on, and but I really want to get to the music because this was a gigantic step in my imaginary career. So the record we're going to talk about is When Dolphins Fly. There you go. So that's what the CD cover looked like. And this was for a company called Optimism Records. And I was connected to them through the producer, Joe Ferry. And David Drosen was the head of the label, and it was a big deal. He flew out to New York to meet with me and Joe. We went out to dinner. And I can remember on the ride home, I'm going, man, this is so great. Record label guy came out, flew out to see me, see us, bought us dinner. And Joe's laughing. He's going, bro, you're paying for that dinner. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, he's just gonna charge this against whatever royalties you make. And I was like, what? So these were my indoctrinations into the next level of the music business, as it were. So a bunch of players on this record. I'll go blow by blow with each song because there's not the same guys on each song. And but one of the really weird things about this record, and somehow I must have thought this was a good idea, and again, I was so, I guess naive is the word for it, but kind of like bullheaded, and sort of thought that the way I did things was the way everybody did things. I had no idea that it wasn't at all how people did things. So we did this recording. And instead of using like the 24 track, 2-inch tape, I had the bright idea that we were going to do this record live to 2-track. Now, it might have been Joe Ferry that suggested it because it's a big money saver. So we literally did like no overdubbing, no mixing, no nothing. Like the record that you're going to hear is literally what we played in the studio, and it goes directly to 2-track stereo. That's it. It's done. So that's kind of like pretty unheard of, And of course, this was again when people were still, using 2-inch tapes and stuff like that. And it was a very expensive proposition to get all that tape. And so I guess to save money, possibly, I can't honestly remember. All I know is we did this thing live. And for some of the players, there was problems. And I'll explain later. But let's jump right in with the first song. So another thing you need to know about this record is that this record was quite successful. And it got me my one and only gig at the Blue Note in New York. And it was way back when. Those of you that are older will remember Pat Prescott from CD 101. She actually introduced us. And it was a big deal, And we were being distributed through Sam Goody Records, and it was a thing. This was the thing. Like, I was there, baby. I had made it. I made it, And, of course, that's not quite how it turned out, but that's another story. But so the first track on this record is my version of Take the A Train, all right? So Duke Ellington, Billy Strayhorn. And I'm playing, and so on this, I'm playing guitar. Charles Blenzik is playing keyboards. Charlie Blenzik, great keyboard player, long-time friend of mine from way back in the day. Also taught for many years with me at Purchase College. He is a musical director. He's, A-level player. And, of course, our good friend Will Lee from The Letterman Show and everywhere else on the planet, bass player, played bass on this track. The drummer, Joe Bonadio. And Joe was a very famous session player and road guy. And later on, he went on to be a very successful producer, producing young artists, like, I guess, artist development, whatever you want to call it. And so this is our version of Take the A Train. And, the year is 1990, and smooth jazz is not a bad word yet, And so that's pretty much the style that you're going to hear tonight. And you're going to hear the Acme Studio sound, I like to call it. Peter Denenberg, brilliant engineer, person. I mean, like really just like a brilliant person, but great engineer, studio guy, owned Acme Studio, which was a what I call A-level studio. And this was the first track off the record. So check it out. Take the A Train. That's Charles. Live to 2-track. So there's got to be a second guitar player on here. I'm pretty sure it's Al Orlo. I'll talk about him next. And I'm playing a guitar you all ain't never seen. I'll talk about that too. that Joe Ferry so didn't like Joe Bonadillo's going to do a film. Joe Ferry was like, what? It's going to come up in a minute. Here it comes. Volume pedal. It's a very cool sounding guitar. My son Eugene has it now. Yeah. So Will Lee, he wanted to do that ending when we were rehearsing. He's like, "Hey man, when we get to the end, and it goes da 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 da, let's do it 3 times." And I was like, "Okay." And since that day, 35 years ago, I still like to end the song that way. And so all the guys on here, these are all a whole new crew of guys that Joe Ferry introduced me to. He introduced me to what I call the Westchester A team. People like Bonadillo and cats like that, Al Orlo, and also his New York friends. Joe Ferry was up from the Bronx, and we had a lot in common because he was up in Larchmont in Rich People Land. I was over in Mamaroneck in Rich People Land, but he had come out of the Bronx and I'd come out of Yonkers, and so we had an immediate bond where we didn't really ever fit in with this sort of Westchester middle class scene. For sure, I was never accepted. I was, never taken seriously, I don't think. But that was the first track, and you can see that's the vibe. And let me see. I think I have a picture of the guitar. So there you go. That it looks like a Telly. It's a Saint Blues, and I had that's sort of like a tobacco burst. Mine was a red finish, but it was like a clear red, like you could see the wood grain, but it was like a deep red, kind of like a Gibson ES335 kind of vibe, where it was like cherry, but you could see through it. And instead of the typical pickups of a Telecaster, I put EMG pickups on there, which in hindsight was a terrible thing to do. But at the time, they were very hip. They were one of the first humbucking pickups that came. They had like a little battery and a preamp built in, blah, blah, blah. And I also had a tremolo system on there. It was a Kahler tremolo, which was another mistake-ish kind of thing to do where I didn't want to router out the whole body like a Strat and really chamber it. So the Kahler, they would just do like a little kind of mini hole into the guitar to do it. But what was bad about the Kahler, after a year or two, when you would use it, it wouldn't come back to like zero. Like, so if you depressed it, it came back flat. If you raised it up, it came back sharp. And there was really nothing you could do about it. There was nothing to adjust. But anyway, at that point, it was doing its job. And so that's that sound. That's the sound of my St. Blues through a Mesa Boogie amp, a Mark I. That was like the first production Mesa Boogie amp, the Mark I. I got mine, I think, in 1981, and I sold it about 25 years later for more than I paid for it. And so there you go. So that there was, the first song. And now, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, moving on. That's supposed to be a dog bark. There you go. Moving on to the second song. Believe it or not, I redid Bullfight. Bullfight I did on the very first record. And I guess I must have liked it so much that I did it again. And so what's interesting is, if you remember 2 weeks ago, too bad we couldn't have done this week to week, but 2 weeks ago when we did the Courageous Cats record, Bullfight was on there. And it's on here again with a different lineup. So this has me on nylon string, Al Orlo on steel string. Al was in a bunch of big local bands, and he was a studio cat. He was like the Acme Studio session guy. And he's still around. He does a lot of Broadway shows. And Charles Blenzik is on piano on here. And Marshall Topo comes back on bass, my man. Bonadio is on drums, Joe Bonadio. And another friend of mine, Ken Ross, is on percussion. Ken Ross I met at the Elmsford Dinner Theater. And I met Ken through doing jam sessions. And we went on. I played at the Dinner Theater for, I want to say, 2 years straight without a break. And so Ken and I were close. And so I was able to, get him on the record date. Also, another thing I should mention, around this time, I ran a jam session at a club in Larchmont. I looked online. I couldn't find a picture of it. It's so long gone. It was called The Upstairs, and it was right across the street from the Larchmont train station. And I ran a jam session there for 3 years. And I met a lot of these guys that I wound up working with, because they would come up from the city on the train. And Larchmont to New York was like 25 minutes. And, and train fare was very cheap back then. And you literally would go out the train, cross the street, go upstairs to the upstairs. And there you were. So I met a lot of these cats there. So I redid Bullfight. And what's interesting is, if you compare this to the other version, you'll see that I did a completely different intro. There's it's kind of fun to kind of like A-B these, where, in this kind of music, you don't really ever play the same thing exactly the same way twice. But here it is, Bullfight, live to 2-track. Check out Charles Blenzik's piano part. It's freaking brilliant. I couldn't find a chart for this. I only found a chart for one song. Because I could hear Bonadio and Charles are playing lines. I must have written them out. Another weird Bonadio fill. I still was playing a lot of scale type stuff. Yeah, I hear the triangle. Wow. All right. All right. I give myself some virtual applause on that. Yeah. So, I haven't listened to some of these songs in 100 years, so I'm having fun checking them out. And I remember that I did write out all those parts. I barely have any of those old handwritten charts. I only have one for this record. And I can remember over the years purging just tons of handwritten stuff. I did so many records with Joe Ferry, big projects where I literally would have like a milk crate of charts because, there was horns and singers and the band and special guests and this and that. And especially when I moved out of my office at the college, I was in that office for 30 years, and I had a gigantic office. And I just threw all the shit away. I just threw it all away, because, just cause. So what'd you think about that, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know if you're out there. Come on the chat bar and chat with me. Chat with me. And hopefully everything is still working because it sure got quiet out there. All right. Goodly. All right. What else did I want to tell you? I guess that's all I wanted to tell you. But if you're out there, come on, let me know what you think. Last person that I see on the chat bar was Lisa Johnson saying, nice. And that was it. It was like a flurry and then like nothing. So I'm wondering if somehow everything cut off, which wouldn't surprise me. So next up on our hit parade, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I guess while I'm waiting to see if anybody's out there and come on, check out this. Who remembers these? That's an old CD case, a tall case. There you go. Linda's there, resting in my recliner. I love this album. Thanks, Lynn. I just wasn't sure if I was still broadcasting or not. But anyway, look at that. There's a tall CD box back in 1990 in an effort to try and get your CDs seen, because back then there was still more vinyl than CDs, and so the vinyl were these giant squares, and so they made these tall CD things. Oh, good. Steve Vance is like, we're still out here. Good. So there you go. There's the front cover with the tall boy. There's the back cover, and check out that young dude there. How handsome is that? Ah, there I am. And I look so young, but I really wasn't all that young. This came out in 1990. I was, how old was I in 1990? I could do the math. I was born in 53. So in 1990, I was 37. Shite. I was old, you know. So, yeah, my sister Linda said, "Who's that guy?" Yeah. Yeah, that's me. And here's what's left of me. Yeah. So, so I started so late. My full-time life as a musician didn't start till I was 30. I always played. I played, I just had the most bizarre sort of life in that I was playing professionally, making money at 14, and realized what it would take to be in the business. And I was like, I don't know if I just like doing this. I just want to do it for fun. BVS, good show. Thank you. Anthony said, listening to your commentary. Of course it got quiet. Oh, thanks. So anyway, I started very, very late, to hit the ground and try and make something happen. Yeah. So there. All right. So let's move on because we got 10 songs to cover. So I don't want to be here till midnight, or do I? Let's see. So next is a song called Blue Monday, an original song. This has me on electric guitar, Charles Blenzik on keyboards, Will Lee, the wonderful Will Lee on bass, and Bonadio, the unpredictable Joe Bonadio on the drums. And I have no recollection of what this song even sounds like. So let's play it and find out. Ooh. Ooh, a little ripoff of Thelonious Monk there. This is like so pork pie hat. I feel like Jerry Lewis. Cautious on this recording because you couldn't go back, so I think I kind of like laid back a little bit as far as like going for it. You can see even way back then, I loved long endings. Those guys, the band is so good. They just followed everywhere I went. Oh my goodness gracious, that was pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Will Lee, boy, what a great bass player. Great dude too. All right, so no, Linda, I don't have 10 more songs. It's a total of 10. We're on song 4 now. We're on a song. Now, this song, there's a Chris Vitarello story for this. I don't know how many of you out there know Chris Vitarello, blues guitar player extraordinaire. He's much more than a blues guitar player, but that's his moniker. You know, everybody has to have a moniker, and that's his moniker, blues. And anyway, I had him on the Tuesday night live stream once, and we, I was like, well, let's play some blues songs. You know, you're a blues dude. So this song I played, Tracks, the one that's coming up, and it's based on a kind of riff that I made up. And so I made up this riff, and then I kind of like, wrote a song around it. And so me and Chris, actually, my point is that 30 years after this record, me and Chris played this on one of my Tuesday night live streams. And this has 2 guitars, me, Al Orlo, Charles Blenzik on keyboard, Marshall back on the bass, Bonadillo on the drums. And I got a chart for this too. Let's check this out. Oh, look at that fancy chart. Ooh, man. Yeah. Yeah, Anthony's like, Chris V, Elks Lodge, Thursday, semi-regular. There you go. Lisa said she liked it. That song, thanks. BVS, putting headphones on for this show. Great. Good idea. All right. So here we go. So Tracks is a very easy song. Doodle-dee-doodle-dee, doodle-dee-doodle-dee-doo. It's just this technique, and it's just 12 bars long. There's the second page, and apparently I had some kind of like solo thing worked out that I scratched. And then we have this ending down where it says coda. So yeah. So let's check it out. Here we go. Tracks. And it actually, if you see let me come back here again. If you look here, it actually started out as Making Tracks with one X. And then on the record, it's just Tracks. It's just Tracks. 2 X's. Tracks. Here we go. Marshall, the killing bass player. Chris V was like, you got to show me how to play that. And of course, I showed him. It's easy. It's not the typical 12-bar blues progression, but it's 12 bars. Charles Blenzik had all those cool analog synths, the Oberheims. Little Tower Power. Bass. Yeah, Joe's bringing it. All right, about time. Drum feature. Everybody in New York was influenced by Dave Weckl at that time. Is there Marshall? Wow, yeah. That's nice. That's nice. Ah. Tracks. Hey, just going to take a 1-minute break here to make some announcements. First of all, I'd like to direct your attention up here to that QR code. You can go to my website and take a look around. I have bundles. I have made bunches of bundles, 5 different bundles of merch. So there's a holiday bundle. There is a La Pompatak bundle. There's a Loop Mania bubble. There is a sort of like fusion bundle, and there's a Bossa Nova bundle. And what these are like a couple of CDs and a T-shirt, or CDs, a download, a T-shirt, a beanie, and they're all 50% off. So if the bundle is $80, you get it for $40. And I'm doing that for the holiday season, and plus, because I'm not working right now, so a way of making a little bit of extra bread. And I pass the savings on to you, where you don't spend a lot for this stuff. And it's free shipping. I'm practically giving it away. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, up here, if you look, I put up a different labella. I'm a labella endorsee, as those of you that watch all the time know. But here, since I'm not playing anything right now, I figured I'd put up the bass strings that I use. Deep talking bass. Flat wound bass strings. That's what's on my Fender P bass. I have a road-worn 1950s style. It's only like 20 years old, the bass, and it's a P bass, Fender P bass, but it's like a throwback to the 50s style P bass, and I use those strings. Highly recommend labella strings. I was just watching Tom Woodford, guitar repair guy that I follow on YouTube, and I watch all his stuff. It's so interesting. And he was restringing a Hofner bass, and he used those very strings. And this guy is like the best repair guy, or if not the best, one of the best. So, labella. Be a good fella. Use labella. They're the best. Then down in the corner over here. No, wait. there, no, there. True Fire. I'm a True Fire artist, although right now I'm inert. So I don't have any private lessons right now. But my channel is up. I have like 3 billion videos that you can go and check out. So go to True Fire and check me out there. Okay. So now let's keep going. Steve Van said, Doug, what guitar did you use on the album and amps? Steve, there's the guitar I used, the Saint Blues. You never see them. It was like a boutique guitar. I got this when I worked in Giuliano's guitar shop in White Plains in the 80s. And apparently they're worth a good bit of money right now. And my son, Eugene, has mine. And yeah. So that was the guitar I used. I used it through a Mesa Boogie, 1981 Mesa Boogie Mark I, the first production year of that amp. And that's what I was using. So now let's move on to track number 5. The song is called Dedication, written by me. I'm playing guitar. Charles Blenzik is playing keyboards. Marshall's on bass again. Bonadio on drums. And our special guest, big name dude, Bob Berg, came on and played saxophone on this. I think he plays, how many tracks does he play on? 2 or 3? 1, 2. He came on and played on 2 tracks. So there's a Bob Berg story. Bob Berg has passed away, but he was a great saxophone player. I wrote down some little things here. He worked with Miles Davis, Chick Corea, also Randy Brecker, played with Billy Cobham, Schofield, Steps Ahead, blah, blah, blah. He was a guy. He was a top cat. And so I sent him the charts about a month before the gig. I sent him the charts as soon as I booked him on the date. And, of course, I got that contact through Joe Ferry. He knew all these guys. I didn't know anybody. And so we negotiated a price, blah, blah, blah. So he shows up at the studio, and he opens up his package of charts. And I could see that he had not ever opened them, because I sent them in an envelope through the mail. And so, he's tearing the top off, and he takes the charts out. And and suddenly he realizes that, oh, we're doing this live. And I'm like, yeah, I told you when I booked you, we're doing this live. Oh, man. So now he's looking at the charts. All of a sudden he goes, I can't play this. And I'm like, oh, why not? And he's like, oh, well, it's in concert. It's not transposed for me. And I was used to playing, again, back in the old days, there was no transposed charts. If at best there'd be some kind of lead sheet and everybody would just, I was used to horn players just playing off of a lead sheet. So I had to, right there in the studio, I was like, okay, guys, let's take 15 minutes. And I ran in the back room and hand wrote out transposed charts for him. And, so that was interesting. So he was not too happy. I was not too happy, but he's the big star. So I just ate it. I didn't say shit. I was just like, yes, sir, Mr. Berg, I will go and I will rewrite this chart and I'll be right back. And so this song is called Dedication. And this features the great one, Bob Berg. And he was great. Yeah, really great. Check it out. na, 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 na. All right. Yeah, there you go. Bob Berg. So at this point in my career, let's see, Phil said, back in the old days, I remember doing charts and finale and waiting to see if it would transpose a part and print it. Yeah. This was literally, well, finale started, I think, in 1989, and this came out in 90. So we must have recorded it in 89 because I didn't have finale yet, and I think I got it right when it came out. So I was still doing stuff by hand. Let's see. Phil said, oh, I should sue Kay Julius for stealing your melody. I wish I was a fish. All right. Yeah, so this was my first experience of working with big name guys, and I could tell you, well, you'll find out eventually why I sort of abandoned that idea. There's a whole school of thought that you, and again, I didn't know any of this stuff. Like I said, the smartest thing I could have done, which I didn't do, was keep playing when I was 14, which would have been the logical thing to do and kind of build my career that way when I was sort of like a kid phenom, like 100 times better than anybody my age. But then on top of that, when I did start to build my career, it never dawned on me to hitch my wagon to a star. I was already, as you could tell, deeply into composition and arranging. So I wasn't that interested in playing with my heroes. I loved so many guys, like I said, like Miles Davis, one of my big heroes, and Chick Corea. But the thought of me playing with them never even crossed my mind, like to think about, oh, how do I audition to play with you? Oh, I'd like to meet you because I want to be in your band. It was more like, I want to do what you do, So anyway, so another way to do it was to get these big name guys to play, because somehow that gives your name credibility because you're playing with these big name guys. And I don't know, there's I guess there's something to be said for that. And there are many people that I know that have done that and still do that, and they have their reasons for doing it. And I don't bemoan anybody doing whatever it is that they feel that they need to do. But this was my first taste of working with like a really, really big name guy. And it was interesting. Let's put it that way. It was an interesting experience to spend all that money to get a guy to come in that didn't even open up the packet and look at the charts. And, we were all depending on him to be the guy to put this record, he's going to put the record over the top. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next song. Let's see. Sharon had to step out and chat for a bit. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. All right, let's see. So the next song is Mean Gene, written for my young son, Eugene. He was, my God, I guess 2 at the time, maybe 1, because he was born in 88, and if we did it somewhere in 89, he would have been like 1 year old. And on here, there's another original. Me on electric, Al Orlo on electric, Charles Blenzik on keyboards, Marshall Topo, my man, on the bass, and Mr. Joe Bonadillo on the drums. And this song is called, like I said, Mean Gene. I have no recollection of what this song is like, so we're going to both find out together. Oh, I remember this now. This has kind of like a Stuff vibe. Those of you that remember the band Stuff, Steve Gadd, Cornell Dupree, Gordon Edwards, Richard T. Not this part, but let's see. The main body of it reminds me of like Gadd Gang Stuff. This part here. There you go. Some Richard T. Church chords. I got some great Richard T. stories. He taught me so much. Such a time capsule of the music scene in New York in 1990. So Sharon said, yeah, it sounds like David Sanborn on, that sax part before. And yeah, absolutely. All those guys were in New York on the scene. Mean Gene on the scene in the green. Yeah. Yeah, those groove tunes. There was a band Stuff. And that's what they were all about. That was some stuff. Okay. So the next song is the second song that Bob Berg is on. This one is called Untitled Number 1. And I think I have a total of 3 untitled songs. It was hip to have a song called Untitled Number Whatever. So I'm playing guitar. Al Orlo's playing electric guitar. Charles Blensick on the keyboards. Marshall on bass. Bonadio on drums. And the lovely Bob Berg on the tenor saxophone. And this song is called Untitled Numero Uno. Come on, Charles. Chicken. Phil said it's like a demented return to forever train. Yeah, absolutely. Me and Charlie were both way into like altered harmony. I can just picture him looking over the keyboard with a devilish grin. Damn it! Listen to this. Bam. Finito. No long ending in fade on that sucker. Whoa. Whoa, mama. Ah. Well, that was interesting. So yeah, Bob Berg. Nice. Phil said, did Return to Forever ever play with the sax? Probably. I can't think of. I just always think of, like Light as a Feather and that record. Yeah, I'm sure. We could always ask Siri, but I got my phone hooked up so I could do stuff like this. Because that's important. Those sounds are what America wants to hear. Sharon said, don't forget to smash the like button. Yeah. And while you're at it, please subscribe to my website. I'm trying to get to 3,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I got 2 months. I got 1 month. So if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, please subscribe to my channel. Make an old man happy. All right, let's move on. We got 3 more songs. This next song is called In a Blue Funk. Another original. Me, Al Orlo, Charles Blenzik, Marshall Topo, Joe Bonadio. And I don't remember this song either, but I'm sure it's like funky and bluesy. Oh, I remember this. Once I hear him, I remember. Peeking out the meter there. Yeah. makes me wish not having a wish I still had a guitar with a wang bar. Wow. It was fun to do that stuff. It was good fun. Big fun. Lots of fun. All right, we got two more to go. And the second to the last song is Un Poquito, which I believe means a little. Un Poquito. And must be some kind of like Latin thing, because it's the usual suspects: me, El Orlo, Charles Blenzik, Marshall Topo, Bonadillo, and Ken Ross joins us again on the percussion. Un Poquito. And then there's just one more song, and we're out of here. I think those were odd bar things there. This is definitely some return for other stuff right here. Charles. Glad he gets another chance to blow. Great improviser. Drum solo time. Wow, that was pretty good. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are drawing to the end of our evening. We have one more song. This is the title track from the record called When Dolphins Fly. And here's a little 30-year-old trivia for you. those of you that are a bit older will remember that on albums, usually you put your strongest stuff up front and your weakest stuff at the end, figuring that, people that were going to listen and spin your stuff, you better start strong. And so the last track is probably my least favorite track, and it's the title track. It's called When Dolphins Fly, and it's okay. It's good. Check it out. But I definitely remember putting it at the end of of the record, and it's me and Charles Blenzik on piano, Marshall and Bonadio bringing us home with When Dolphins Fly, as opposed to When Pigs Fly. This is When Dolphins Fly. That's some nice wang bar stuff, I guess. Oh, there's a dive bomb. See, if we could have mixed that, I would have brought Marshall up higher in that riff. Nice chords. Me and Marshall playing that melody. I guess it's not such a bad song. Big riff, here it comes. Charlie Blenzik is playing it. Yeah, okay, but that's all she wrote. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was an epic journey. Yikes. Oh, sorry. I just meant that, really. The other was a Freudian slip. I just found some stuff here. It says here, all songs were recorded live to digital except Take the A Train and Blue Monday. So I have to put that in there. So I just remember, doing this whole live to digital thing. So yeah, so there you go. That was that. And as you can see, what a difference from Courageous Cats to this album, where Courageous Cats, I was the guitar synth guy, and I thought I was signed to a subsidiary of a major label, and it turned into a gigantic. And I guess I soured on the whole guitar synth thing. I just felt like, I don't know. I just felt like moving on. And so that's when I was doing the jam session at the Upstairs. I met all these players. I met Joe Ferry. It was a whole new scene. And this record is the result of that sort of like next thing that sort of happened to me. And yeah, so that was 1990. So thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me tonight. And, and I welcome your feedback. Those of you that are seeing this after the fact, feel free to leave me comments. I loved it. I hated it. Keep doing it. Never do it again. But if all things are being equal, next week, I will do the next record, which was my second record for Optimism Records, which, of course, if you know me, it was ill-fated and lots of bad stuff happened surrounding that record. Of course, why not? Why wouldn't it? And but that's another story for next week. In the meantime, in between time, thank you again so much for hanging with me. Thank you for coming on the chat bar. If you've never been on the chat bar and you watch this, please don't be shy. It's a great community of people on the chat bar, and they would love to meet you. I would love to meet you and hang with you on the chat bar. So that's it. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Tell everybody I'll be here next week. Of course, I have no gigs coming up, although I am going to be doing a session with my good friend Ricardo Gautreau at Raw Recording with my friend JC in Patterson, New York. We're going to be doing that on Saturday, so that's going to be fine. I'm just sort of producing a session. Of course, I'm not playing. I can't even drive. And I guess that's it. So look, everybody, have a great week. Thank you for all your kind prayers and thoughts and well wishes. And I'm healing up. And hopefully next week when I see you, I'll be like, I'm cleared to start physical therapy and I could drive again and blah, blah, blah. And we'll go from there. So as always, I wish you love, peace, and, just a little pinch of that delicious, yummy chicken grease.